Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. How is the Niners' future with this deal? I first want to point off and give my credit and give credit where credit is due to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a player who is Mr. Irrelevant, was the last pick in the draft in his draft class. He is a player who was not getting paid any money at all. I believe there was a story 2 years ago when they made it to the NFC Championship game, or last year in the Super Bowl, that his parents were still paying for his way into an apartment. He was never looked at as this gifted quarterback going into the draft. A lot of people think he was lucky to even be drafted. And in the 3 years that he was the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, he led the 49ers to an NFC Championship berth, and he led them to a Super Bowl. A lot of people have argued the year they went to the NFC Championship game, Brock Purdy had gotten hurt. And I, for one, was one of those people. I really think the Niners would have beat the Eagles at Philadelphia. That's how good the 49ers were that year. They just acquired Christian McCaffrey. They were that good of a team. But let's get into that. And again, congratulations, Brock Purdy. It was deserved. It was earned. He put into work. He doubted the doubters wrong. And he showed his value. And he gets to enjoy that money with his family and his friends, and he deserves it 100%. But how is the 49ers' future outlook with this deal? We know that good GMs are good at manipulating contracts. Jalen Hurts, for instance, is getting paid $50 million a year. But they are still finding it, the Eagles and Howie Roseman are still finding a way to be able to pay their good players and establish pieces around Jalen Hurts. The general consensus around Brock Purdy has been that he needed the Avengers, essentially is what they called them, to be able to succeed. Because in the last 2 seasons, we saw when Trent Williams was hurt, Deebo Samuel was hurt, when Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL, when there were instances where Christian McCaffrey wasn't available this past year, Brock Purdy wasn't as successful as he was with those guys. Specifically this past season, the 49ers had a pretty dreadful season. They were 7-10, didn't make the playoffs, didn't have a good year, and that led them to having as the high of a draft pick as they had. And in this past year, Deebo Samuel was hurt. Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL. Christian McCaffrey was not available at all, hardly. Trent Williams was hurt as well. The really only reliable targets that Brock Purdy did have was basically George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. I can't remember. Brandon, I don't know if it was Brandon Jennings, something Jennings. Janoris Jenkins is his name. Janoris Jenkins was the wide receiver. Ricky Pearsall was a wide receiver they drafted a year ago. It was his rookie season, so he was getting acclimated into the offense. So Brock Purdy was relatively handicapped. He wasn't given a good hand. But with this deal, one can argue that it's going to be the hand that Brock Purdy is going to be dealt for the rest of his tenure at the 49ers. They obviously traded away Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel, and to Brock Purdy's defense, Deebo Samuel relatively didn't have a great year. A lot of people have been claiming he's been out of shape. I can relatively agree to that. Deebo Samuel has just not been himself the last couple of seasons. They extended Fred Warner to relieve the Niners of that massive cap hit they were fixing to have. They have been flirting with the idea of trading Brandon Ayuk. They gave Brandon Ayuk that contract, and I guess he tore his ACL, and now they're not 100% if they even like the deal. Trent Williams is getting old. I really think Trent Williams has probably got 1 or 2 good seasons left in him, and that's being generous. And this contract signed Brock Purdy with the 49ers for the next 6 years. George Kittle is still in his prime, but I don't see a scenario in another 3 years where George Kittle is going to be. George Kittle will still be a great tight end, don't get me wrong, but I don't see a scenario in the back half of Brock Purdy's contract where George Kittle is going to be a difference maker, because George Kittle has had some injury concerns, but he was relatively healthy this last year. Another player we have to think about is Christian McCaffrey as well. Christian McCaffrey cannot stay healthy. When he is healthy, he is the best running back in the league. All respect to Saquon Barkley. We have to think of it in that perspective. Defensively, you have Fred Warner still. You have Joey Bosa. And there's no other guys there. You lost Ward, the cornerback. You lost him in free agency. Hufanga, the safety. You lost him in free agency. You lost Dre Greenlaw in free agency. You released Javon Hargrave, the defensive tackle. You just draft. A lot of people didn't like your draft defensively and offensively, and your draft as a whole. The 49ers, as presently constructed, are not a great team. So Brock Purdy has an uphill climb. Do I think Brock Purdy will lead the 49ers to another Super Bowl? Absolutely not. I don't think that. And that's not particularly Brock Purdy's fault. I just don't think that the team that is presently constructed is not good enough to win a Super Bowl. Not in a division that is on the rise. I don't foresee that. Because Brock Purdy is not a Patrick Mahomes-esque type of quarterback. He's not a Tom Brady-esque type of quarterback. He doesn't make those around him. He doesn't uplift the talent around him. That is not a knock on him at all. But when we look at Brock Purdy and the GM John Lynch is going to have to nail the draft like Howie Roseman and the Eagles have. They've drafted pretty much all the pieces that they have outside of A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley. You got 2 guys. But the 49ers had those 2 guys the last couple of seasons, and they have had their shots. You had the Brandon Ayuk. You had a healthy Christian McCaffrey. You had a healthy Deebo Samuel. Trent Williams was still balling. George Kittle was still balling. Great offensive line. I don't see a scenario where the Niners win a Super Bowl. They did have to lock in their future at quarterback, because the 49ers have played QB carousel for the last couple of years. They knew Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't the answer. A lot of people didn't really think Brock Purdy was going to be the answer. Do the 49ers have a cornerstone of players to lean on? Absolutely. For the next foreseeable years, you got Fred Warner and you got Joey Bosa. You got Brock Purdy. Hopefully you can have Christian McCaffrey for a numerous amount of years as well. And George Kittle. But I don't see the Brock Purdy and the 49ers going to another Super Bowl. That is the end goal. You have to win a Super Bowl. A bright side to this, though, is that the 49ers have the weakest schedule in the NFL this year. Should they possibly be able to make the playoffs this year? I think so. But they are in a pretty gauntlet of a division. You're in a division with the division favorite who I have winning the division this year with the Los Angeles Rams. Many argue that if Sam Darnold is just decent enough, the Seattle Seahawks could be a great team as well. I don't see the Cardinals really doing much. I think that the 49ers could do better than the Cardinals because I just don't trust Kyler Murray, Jonathan Gannon. I think it still needs some work. So the 49ers are looking at a wild card spot, potentially. We're just going to have to wait and see, but I really do think, are the 49ers going to be able to contend for a Super Bowl? Absolutely. I just don't think they will ever get to one. Their window has been open for the last 6 years. They have not capitalized on the moment. A lot of that has been due to injuries, and it's not been their fault. The 49ers have been plagued with bad luck when it comes to that aspect of the game. But I do not see a scenario where the San Francisco 49ers under Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy going to another Super Bowl. It's a hard truth, but relative to this contract, they believed in Brock Purdy. They still think that Brock Purdy could lead them to a Super Bowl. But as presently constructed and in a future outlook under this contract, unless the 49ers hit home draft picks, specifically on the defensive side of the ball at cornerback, at defensive back period, and probably get a couple of wide receivers in these next upcoming drafts, and reassuring and beefing the offensive line, they're not going to be contending for anything. Again, I want to congratulate Brock Purdy. It's an amazing story. It's great for his family. It's a great story to tell his kids. And it's a great story for any person in life who is going through adversity and is being doubted, that you are good enough to do anything you want to do. Brock Purdy was seen as Mr. Irrelevant. Everybody doubted him. People are still doubting him to this day, as I am talking on this podcast. But at the end of the day, this man got $53 million. He got $53 million a year. He got $265 million altogether. And it is generationally life-changing money for not only his family, but his family after him. So congratulations to Brock Purdy, and all hope and all faith that he does well. And I'm sending my good luck to him in the future. The next topic we're going to be talking about, let me know what you guys think about my comments on that regarding the 49ers. And do you think they are going to get to another Super Bowl? Did you think signing Brock Purdy was the right idea? I want to know everything and your thoughts down below.